816-5555. Jacksonville. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yeah! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
Filling in for Hacker After Dark, as well as Rick Ballou this week. It's another edition of Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. Glad you guys are here with us. Dylan Denmark also in studio. NBA Summer League action well underway. Training camp around the corner. SEC Media Days taking over Sports Talk. Frank Frangie, Matt Hayes doing a great job in Atlanta, giving you the latest in the Southeastern Conference. We have a lot to talk about over these next 2 hours. And as always, we love to get your thoughts and opinions on the program. You can do so via the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure 641-1010, or you can do it on one of our various digital platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all are allocated to you. We would love to hear your opinions throughout the program. So I'll start with this. I'll take you back about 12 years. I was 18 years old, just graduated from Arcadia High School, going to a junior college about 30 minutes away called Glendale Community College. And I wanted to try out for the basketball team. And if I remembered the assistant coach's name, I would call it. But I remember talking to him and saying, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to join the basketball team. And he asked me a simple question. Why do you want to join? Do you want to join due to the fact that you'll get some gear? You'll be able to travel with the team because you like basketball? He had saw me play in a couple of open gyms. He said, you have skill, but do you like the game or do you love the game? Because a lot of individuals in which we're bringing in, their why is because they don't want to have to pay for school. They're coming here to a 2-year to then transfer to a 4-year and hopefully get a full ride. Some may be looking to go overseas. Some may be looking to go the college route and go to that 4-year, and hopefully their dreams can come true and they hear their name called by David Stern, Adam Silver in the NBA draft. And when he had that conversation with me, I immediately understood because, like, I understand that there's a why to everything. You do, too, as you're driving home from work, or maybe you're home already, or maybe you're just finishing up the last few pieces of work before you get out of that door and have to enjoy Jacksonville traffic for just a few moments. There's a why for everything. Why we work the job we do. Why we raise kids the way we do. Why we chose and selected the partner in which we did. Right? So it has me thinking, and I would love your opinion on it. 641-1010. If the Jags are to be successful this season, what would be the why behind it? Is it because Trevor Lawrence has a career year for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Is it because Brian Thomas Jr. goes from being a top 12 to top 15 wide receiver in the league to now being looked at as a top 5, top 7 receiver? Is Travis Hunter the guy that we all believed he would be when we heard you guys in November and December and January saying that we need to draft Travis? That should be the focus. Now you have him. Is the expectation that the reason why Jacksonville would be successful year 1 is because Travis Hunter is everything we felt that he was going to be? He's just as advertised like we saw at Jackson State and as we saw in Colorado. Is it because Josh Hines-Allen, he finally dropped that weight, that bulk he wanted him to add on He's dropped it. Now we're going to see him play just like he did in that contract year. Or is it because simply we'll have a clean bill of health? Didn't it seem like the injury bug hit us like a whirlwind last season? Well, I do believe that all of the above are possible. But I do believe that it's all going to start. The foundation, the substratum of all this is going to be because there's complete buy-in from this group. This team last year, and I think we can probably argue with the statement I am going to make, whether you're for or against it, it seemed like those guys checked out on Doug. It almost seemed to me that Doug was checked out himself. Didn't it feel like you, the Jacksonville Jaguar fan, didn't it feel like you guys, as we watched Sunday to Sunday, whether it was cover to cover or you're just watching in spurts, the excitement, the investment went from being from the highest of highs to, what else is on TV? And I'll just peek every so often at the score. Maybe I'll look on my phone, see ESPN. I'll just keep up with the ticker instead of watching this game to get my heart broken yet again with this Jacksonville bunch last year. And Doug, to me, to be all honest with you, it seemed to me that Doug Peterson was a guy that was the equivalent to Byron Scott, if I could make an NBA reference to all this. It seemed like he was a guy, and you've heard it before many times from guys like Leon Searcy, Tom McManus, and others, that he was an individual that felt that maybe all of my guys were already going to be accountable. I don't have to teach. Byron Scott was that kind of a guy. And if he did have to teach a young gun, a la Chris Paul was already so far ahead of the game that I don't have to teach him from the studs to build him up. I think Doug Peterson had to look at an individual such as Trevor Lawrence and build him from the studs. That's something that I don't think he had all of the patience for. Not saying he wasn't patient, but maybe not as patient as maybe a Liam Cohen will be. Because now that's who you've brought in. Liam Cohen, and you've brought in a new regime. And Liam Cohen, from a standpoint, has to heal what is, I feel, a rattled team. A team that looked to be taking the next step to now a squad that's being thrown out of the mansion like Jazz and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So now they have to buy into his system. They have to buy into his philosophies. But it just doesn't fall on the coach. This doesn't just fall on Liam. This team has to decide if they want to get out of the rut. You can only stay down for so long until you make the decision that it is my time. It's time for us to get up, shake it off, put the ball back on the tee and start swinging. And it all sounds good right now when you're listening to certain guys on podcasts or radio shows saying that everybody's kumbaya, we're taking trips to the Bahamas together, and those things are needed. What happens when we get into training camp? What's the energy like there? Is it one that we really need to get after it because we understand what the AFC South is? And it's not that great of a division. It's a winnable division for us. Not to sleep on the other three teams that are there, but are they that significantly better than we are? And I think that's going to start from the veterans and trickle down to the rookies. And then that'll permeate throughout the rest of the organization, to which I feel hasn't had that sense of a culture, because we've seen so much turnover in just the short time Trevor Lawrence has been here. But this is Josh Hines Allen on the energy he is looking to bring to the table. He was talking with Rich Eisen, just the energy he is looking to bring to the table coming into training camp this season.
I think it's just setting the expectations high as soon as we get back. Speaking to the guys, like making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. Training camp is going to be huge. I think this is a big year for us, and we can capitalize off this opportunity, man. I don't think we're far away from anybody else. I think we can compete against anybody. And, you add the playmakers we did add, I think we're in a good position. But, again, me as a leader, man, just to come in day one and set that tone early, let them know, like, this is the mentality that we finna play with. This is the conditioning, it's the effort that we need to play with every day, and set that standard and have everybody else follow.
It's easy to say when there's no pads on and you're in sunny Los Angeles, California. Easy to say when there's no record being kept. If they honestly think that they are not that far away, then I hope they come with that energy to camp. If that is your why. But if they don't, or they're going to half it, then we're just going to be moved aside yet again for another season. And what's the excuse then? We hear Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is talking about, listen, it's year 5. It's go time. Maybe some of us thought go time was going to be a couple of years ago, but he says it's go time now. It's time to make a statement. It's time for him to show not only Jacksonville, but the rest of the NFL world that he does belong in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. I like that. I like hearing that. But now you need to see it on the field. This has been a guy in which we've seen he has all the talent. He was called the promised son at Clemson. Whoever got the number 1 overall pick was going to have their franchise quarterback for the next 15, 16 years with Trevor Lawrence, and a couple of Super Bowls to boot. And I hear you guys. Hasn't been everything we've wanted. And again, new regime now coming in. They make this big swing for the fences, and you get Travis Hunter, arguably the best player in this year's draft. It's like that Music Soul Child song to me, though. It's cool when love is all brand new because you're learning me and I'm learning you. But what about the old guard that's been here? Trevor, Hines Allen, Foye, Tyson Campbell, ETN. They know what the city sounds like. They know what it feels like when you're winning. And I think the why is not only going to be because of the fact that you bought in to the new regime and the philosophy and the culture they're trying to build, but you also say to yourself as the older guard that's here that we need to take our game to another level. X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, we hear that all the time. But if there's no buy-in from this team, in my opinion, how far can you really go? Because are they going to check out on a Liam Cohen if this doesn't work out the way that they think it should work out early on in the year? Or do they still keep the faith and actually mean it? Because I didn't believe it when Trayvon Walker said after they finally had gotten off the slide, and he said, "Don't stop believing in us. We haven't stopped believing." And him and Hines Allen are hugging. I didn't really believe it. So we saw what the Jimmys and Joes and X's and O's did last year. Seems to me, however, Liam Cohen is really going to hold these guys accountable, something I feel maybe the past 2 regimes did not do. And I think because of that, along with many other things, I think we are going to have a season that, no, it's not going to end in a Super Bowl, but I do think you get a winning record, maybe a wild card, maybe just get to the playoffs outright, and maybe that anxiousness, that excitement we can have for the season and seasons to come. But Jacksonville has to understand their why. Not just individually, but collectively. And we'll certainly see what happens, because it's certainly easy to talk about the why when you're playing against air that doesn't hit back. Let's see what happens week 1 against the Carolina Panthers. Then you follow that into week 2, so on and so forth. And I think that the why there will show itself. But let me know, 641-1010, why will the Jacksonville Jaguars, should they have a successful season, what will be the why because of that? And when we come back, I do want to ask John Shipley this, who will be joining us in our next segment. Should we have lofty expectations for the Jags going into training camp, which is just a couple of days away? We will discuss that next right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
He's a recent play-by-play, has been on the radio for more than 100 years.
There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. And
Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
I'm Chris Campione. Veterans have given so much in the service of our country, but when it comes to legal challenges, you shouldn't have to fight alone. At Campione Law, we're here to help veterans like you get the support and compensation you deserve. Whether it's a workplace injury, a personal injury claim, or navigating a veteran's disability claim, we'll stand by your side every step of the way. Your service to our country matters. Let us serve you with the dedication and respect you deserve. Call Campione Law for a free consultation today. Campione Law, fighting for veterans, fighting for justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Campione Law.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Gather the family when it's time to retire. Enjoy the warmth of the cozy fire. Now we're cooking in the great outdoors. That's what outdoor kitchens are for. You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Get the best soccer talk on the First Coast on the Coaches Show, presented by Sporting Jacks. Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburg, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Baylor discuss the beautiful game Tuesday evenings at 6 on 1010 a.m.
Jeff Prosser here for Lloyd's Heating and Air. Need a leader for commercial, retail, multifamily, or hospitality projects? Or top-tier residential service? No gimmicks, no mascots, just real expertise and hard work. As your trusted statewide mechanical partner and local family-owned team, Lloyd's is the name Northeast Florida counts on. Visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
Reclaim a pain-free life with Rebound Rehab. If you've been injured or simply feeling the effects of an active life, you can rely on Rebound Rehabilitation to get you back in the game. Sitting on the sidelines isn't any fun. Trust Rebound Rehab's team of trained physical therapists to get you back up to speed and feeling full again. Now more convenient than ever. 11 locations to serve you, including new offices in Riverside across from St. Vincent's, Point Meadows, and Middleburg. Just log on to reboundrehab.com to see all they've got to offer.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance painting.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to I-9 Sports with fall and winter registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Vegas, 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 baby. Vegas, baby.
Helmets and Heels is back at Circa Resort and Casino with 2 epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Here's the scoop. In Circa Million, pick 5 games against the spread each week for quarterly prizes and a $1 million grand prize for the season winner. Then there's the legendary Circa Survivor. 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins a guaranteed $15 million. Must enter in Nevada, then play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for all the details.
Plus, sign up for either contest and score 50% off a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino. You can even join the ultimate football kickoff with Helmets and Heels in Vegas, August 21st and 22nd while you enter. Book your stay at Circa now and chase $21 million in guaranteed prizes. No rake. For full contest details, check out 1010XL.com/Vegas. Vegas, baby.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, need a fence and ready to save? At Superior Fence and Rail, you'll lock in 5% off your fence project when you sign by the end of July. A limited time offer for savings and peace of mind this summer. Now accepting appointments for a free estimate. So act fast and get 5% off your entire fence project when you finalize by July 31st. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. David here with Royal Pest Services. It's back. Our summer Centricon Termite Special. New installs begin as low as $249. And if you have existing Centricon, but your renewal is through the roof, we can transfer you to Royal at no cost. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Our next guest is your favorite writer's favorite writer. He is Jaguars beat reporter for Jaguars on SI and a friend of the station. He's John Shipley joining us now on Open Gym. John, man, thanks for coming on with us again. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I appreciate the intro, too. Your favorite writer's favorite writer. I might have to start using that one.
I only say it because it is true. We love the work that you do here, being one of the main scribes for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I spoke about this on our first segment, and I wanted to ask you this. If you can finish this sentence to me, the Jaguars will have a successful season because...
To me, the Jaguars will have a successful season because they have a head coach who will have a forward-thinking offensive scheme and who will finally bring them into the modern age of NFL football.
Now, when you talk about the forward-thinking head coach and Liam Cohen, just how do you feel his offense is going to make things easier for not only Trevor Lawrence, but for the offensive side of the football as a whole?
Yeah, 100%. To me, what he does is, and I think Trevor Lawrence kind of put it best during the offseason when he said that they provide them with the answers on the offense. It really seemed like with the previous offensive scheme that, you know, they did the meat and potatoes things on offense. They did really the bare standard of what you would expect from an NFL offense. They kind of just went out there and lined up and played. They didn't really move guys around. You know, you knew Christian Kirk was in the slot. You knew Evan Ingram was in the slot.
Right.
You knew which guys were going to be on the outside. I mean, you remember Calvin Ridley's year. He was pretty much planted on the outside running vertical routes really the whole year. There was no real guessing for the defense, and there was no real providing, you know, if something goes wrong for the offense and things break down, there's no real answer beyond that. And I think if you look at what Liam did in Tampa Bay, I mean, just for example, nearly 1,000 of Baker Mayfield's yards last season came on screenplays.
Mm-hmm.
That's, a big chunk of his production where he virtually had to do nothing.
Right.
They were hitting the easy buttons. Liam Cohen, to me, has one of the best screen games in the entire NFL. And the Jaguars, for example, they haven't had that. I mean, Doug Peterson and his staff weren't afraid to call screens, but over the last several years, they were one of the worst teams in terms of production and efficiency from screens, not just in terms of volume, but, what they were actually getting out of the play. I think Liam Cohen can help in that regard. I think that he will also be less stubborn than maybe we've seen on the Jaguars offense the last couple of years. It feels like the Jaguars offense in previous years, they kind of said, okay, we do what we do, and if our players can't do that, that's on them. Whereas opposed, I think Cohen's offense in Tampa Bay and even before that Kentucky, he's going to fit it to the players. He's not going to come in with a scheme and if it fails, kind of put it on the execution. If it fails, I think he'll put it on the scheme and he'll find an answer for it after that.
Joining us is Jaguars beat reporter for Jaguars on S-Side, John Shipley, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. You did an amazing piece with Jimmy Smith. I encourage everyone to read that piece on Jaguars on SI. And when he speaks on Brian Thomas Jr., he speaks on the chance of him possibly becoming the best receiver in franchise history. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment as we see Brian Thomas Jr. going to year 2?
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole reason I really wanted to talk to Jimmy about PTA because, like I mentioned in the story, the Jaguars, since, Jimmy's heyday, have tried so many times to find that new alpha male receiver who can really chase Jimmy's records. They tried it with Reggie Williams. They tried it with Matt Jones. They tried it with Justin Blackmon. They tried it with DJ Chark, Allen Robinson, Marquise Lee, Laviska Shenault. If you even want to go to some of the veteran guys they've looked at, they tried it with Calvin Ridley. They tried it with Christian Kirk. The list has really gone on and on. And there's been, flashes from guys. Like Allen Robinson had a good little run for a little bit. DJ Chark had a Pro Bowl year, but nobody's been able, I think, to really do anything but flash and potentially provide that for the Jaguars. Now, in Brian Thomas, I think you're seeing a guy who just pound for pound, talent-wise, is the best receiver the Jaguars have had since Jimmy Smith. Just what he can do as not just a vertical threat. Like, that was my big mistake evaluating Brian Thomas coming out of LSU. LSU only really asked him to run a handful of routes, and they basically asked him to simply be faster than the guy covering him. And I was skeptical that somebody who I thought was just a deep threat would be able to do some of the more intricate things for an offense that, teams kind of need a number one receiver to do.
Right.
He shattered all of those evaluations that I had. He can get open on underneath routes. He can win over the middle. He can kind of do everything that you need from a receiver. And I think you can see in that story just how much respect Jimmy has, for his game. I mean, it was even at one point in the story where, I asked him, tell me what you like the most about Brian's game. And he legitimately goes, Jesus. And he pauses for a second and goes, his ceiling, we don't know what it is.
Right.
And I agree with that sentiment. And to hear that from undoubtedly the best receiver who has ever played a down for the Jaguars, I think that says a lot.
Now, I do believe that I remember going on Twitter one day when you were first watching Brian Thomas Jr. in training camp, or it could have been rookie mini camp, and the only thing you had was one sentence that Brian Thomas Jr. goes Zoom, and he certainly has done that this past season, and we certainly look for him to do it again this season as we're joined by John Shipley of Jaguars on SI. Now, we get into training camp here only a couple of moments away, and what's something for you, in terms of what you're going to be putting under the spotlight or looking at intently with this team as they prepare to get the ball rolling here in a couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to see how the secondary especially is going to shake out. I think there's a couple different things going on in terms of, one, it's a brand new scheme. It's a scheme that I think and that the Jaguars seem to think will lead to more playmaking opportunities.
Okay.
In Ryan Nielsen's press scheme that they had last year, more often than not, the corner had their back to the quarterback. They were playing the receiver physically at the line of scrimmage, and they were focusing really just on the receiver and dominating them physically. Now in this more off-coverage and zone-based defense, they can kind of read the quarterback and make instinctive and high IQ football plays. That, to me, is what guys like Tyson Campbell and Buster Brown have proven before that they do best. So I think they have a lot of guys who fit the scheme, but I'm also, they have a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
Jarian Jones played inside last year. He spotted to play outside some this year. Jordan Lewis can play inside and out. Travis Hunter, in my opinion, can play inside and out. And, just throwing him into the mix of the cornerback room, who really is going to be their top mix at cornerback. I think there's 5 different guys, really, for 3 spots between Tyson, Jordan Lewis, Travis Hunter, Buster Brown, and Jarian Jones. So I'm fascinated to see how that shakes out.
Speaking of Travis Hunter, one big storyline that came out and had Jaguar fans rumbling here in the city for a couple of days, the quote from Greg Cosell about the motion offensively in Cohen's offense, and the fact that defensive and offensive meetings are held at the same time. He can't be at both. So, I think Cohen and the Jaguars front office really do have a remedy for all this. I'm sure they've already talked about it already. But in your opinion, how do you think the Jaguars are going to handle the meetings for Travis Hunter, both offensively and defensively, and his availability for both?
Yeah, I think they've already kind of gotten their plan off to a strong footing in the sense that he was in both meetings during the offseason program. They noted that. He noted that. And Travis Hunter himself even noted that. Defensively, I don't think it's as extensive as perhaps a learning curve as it is on offense. Of course, he has to learn the different terminology and really what Anthony Campanelli wants to do. But cover 2 is cover 2. Cover 3 is cover 3.
Right.
Man coverage is man coverage. And cornerback is really his bread and butter natural position. I don't think you're going to see a big transition on the defensive side. I think he could, to me, if Travis Hunter was only playing one position and he was like playing cornerback, and I think if he played cornerback 100% of his snaps for 17 games in 2025, I think he'd end the year as a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. He was absolutely dominant during the offseason program at corner. He was dominant in college at corner. I think the biggest transition is just the receiver side and the little intricacies of it. So, yeah, do I think it'll be a challenge learning 2 positions? I do, but I think they have a plan for him, especially in terms of how far meetings go. And I think that one side of the ball, he just simply has to learn more and especially run the scheme more than the other side of the ball. It's not like he's drinking from a water hose from 2 different ends in terms of the offense and defense. I do think the defensive side will come easy.
What side of the football do you think we see him on more?
Man, that's tough. It really is. I'm not even sure they know. I think that it really is going to be I don't think they're going to go into the season saying we want him to play X amount of snaps on offense and X percentage of snaps on defense. I really do think it could be kind of a game-by-game thing. Against the Carolina Panthers, for example, they have Ted McMillan, a wide receiver. Right. I expect, you probably see him a decent amount at corner.
Right.
Other weeks where maybe teams don't have strong firepower at receiver, but they have a strong secondary and the Jaguars will need to keep up. Maybe you see him at receiver. So I'm not sure I can put a number on it or put a guess. If I had to lean one way, I'd probably say offense just because touchdowns win games, and they more or less as a leader group have said that this offseason.
Right.
Not in terms of him specifically, but just in terms of what do they need the most. Tony Bazzelli said the best before the draft. He said we need guys who can score touchdowns. So I'd probably lean offense, but I do think it will be close by the end of the day.
Final couple of moments with John Shipley, writer for Jaguars on SI, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. There are a few guys that we're going to be looking at this season in hopes that they have a bounce back year. One of those being Josh Hines-Allen. You can make an argument for Eric Armstead, Trevor Lawrence as well. Travis Etienne, you're maybe going to be looking at too in terms of the running back position, really wanting him to have a bounce back year for this football club. But, just for you, in your opinion, is there a guy in particular that you're saying needs to have a bounce back year from what they had the year previous in order for this team to be able to have a successful year?
I think Trevor Lawrence has to be the obvious one. And I say that as somebody who I think among the opinions on Trevor Lawrence, I'm probably on the higher end in terms of, I think talent-wise, he's a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the NFL. It's just, to me, consistency and injuries have really hampered him since 2022. Like last year, I thought, for example, his first 4 games last year, his first month of the season last year, to me was legitimately the worst stretch he's had since a rookie. Like that kind of stretch was the one where I would say, okay, I agree. This dude kind of needs to get his crap together.
Right.
On the other hand, he started cooking by the time, he got out of that phase. He was putting together some really strong performances. If he doesn't get hurt against the Eagles and then again against the Texans last year, I think he puts together a stronger season than people expected. But he just needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay consistent because it's been proven that when he's hurt, the entire franchise is hurt. They do not go far when he is not healthy under center. We saw it in 2023. Even though he only missed one game, he played several games where he was nowhere close to 100%. Probably wasn't even close to 70%. And the entire offense and entire team kind of struggled. So I think just him staying healthy is a big, big factor. I'd say probably the X factor of the season.
Now, before we let you go, and once again, man, thank you always for giving us a couple moments of your time. On paper, how would you grade the Jaguars offseason? We see the article from ESPN. They give them a C grade, starting an uproar here in the 904. But, on paper, how did you kind of fare the Jacksonville Jaguar offseason?
Yeah, no, I'd say you probably put it at I want to say B. I don't think I would go A, anything like that, just because I think, like, for an A all season, you have to just clearly nail every single move.
Right.
But I will say, I think that, what were the two biggest deficiencies of the roster last season? I'd say offensive line and secondary. Well, they overhauled both of those. Will they end up being correct in how they did it? Remains to be seen, but you can at least note that, they were attacking the right positions. And then I think the move for Travis Hunter was the kind of move that the franchise needed to make. I think that this was a team that, even though they were picking at number 5, this wasn't a team that had to blow up and completely rebuild the roster. I know they've shifted the roster a lot, but it, to me, wasn't a team who you need all of your picks no matter what because you're so talent deprived. They have a talented roster. Is it a 13-4 roster? No, but it's not a 4-13 one either. So I think to get a guy who, to me, was one of only 2 actual blue-chip talents in this draft, to me, made, their offseason. If I was a Tennessee Titan, it would have been tough for me to pass on Travis Hunter at number 1. I know they needed a quarterback.
Right.
It's just Travis Hunter is such a rare talent, and I think can provide them such rare and unique value. I mean, they potentially have a Pro Bowl-type talent at 2 positions, and he's on a rookie contract for 1. That to me is just the kind of edge that a winning franchise finds. So I think for that alone, even with the price they gave up, something to be considered for a strong offseason.
He is your favorite writer's favorite writer, and we always enjoy him giving us the latest with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is John Shipley, Jaguars beat writer for Jaguars on SI. Make sure to catch all of his great work there. And John, we certainly thank you again, man, for giving us a couple moments here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Man, I'm going to reach out to you again so we can do this again, man. Thank you.
Hey, I'll be there, brother. I appreciate you.
There he goes, John Shipley, Jaguars on SI, giving us the latest on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I agree with him. I gave it a B for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the move for Travis Hunter was one that you needed to make. I do believe that there's going to be competition once we get to training camp here at a lot of positions. I think the offensive line as well as a couple of those secondary pieces. I don't think that they know. I mean, of course we don't know, but do we have an idea who's going to be running back 1? Who's going to be taking snaps with the first team? Is that Travis Hunter? Maybe it should be Travis Hunter. He's that great. But Travis Etienne? Are we sure? Tank Bigsby kind of outplayed him last season. Bashal Tootin, maybe at some point in time this season, we'll see him, with the first string, maybe a starting running back. I clearly think he's probably the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this group. So I gave it a B. I thought that ESPN was hating a little bit, giving us a C grade, but certainly we'll see. There's a season to play. There's a training camp to be had, and the excitement is certainly here in Jacksonville. Would you sell your football soul to have Nick Saban coach your team? We'll discuss that next on Open Gym.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he's got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL
Hacker here, and I want to tell you one of my favorite things about Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and that's the personalized coaching that you get with Awaken 180. Now, a lot of weight loss programs, they'll give you some plan off their website, and they'll say, all right, have fun, see you later. Not Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Prime example of that, my coach Kate. I've had phone calls with my coach Kate over a year now, every single week. She's been advising me, she's been guiding me, she's been motivating me, and as a result of that, I'm down well over 100 pounds. I'm on the maintenance program now. The coaching you get with Awaken 180 helps you reach your goal. It is absolutely sensational, and it separates Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Do what I did. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Take it from me. If I can do it, you can do it. Get involved with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Buick GMC has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup, like the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Curious about an EV? Save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV SUV and truck, plus the all-new GMC Sierra EV with outstanding cash incentives. Now is the time to take an EV test drive. Shop 24/7 online at nimnikbuickgmc.com or head to the showroom on Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Big moment. Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
One of Beard's Diamond's most popular events ever is back. It's Christmas in July. Right now, for a limited time, you get as much as 40% off anything in our showcases. Yes, that includes engagement rings, fashion rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones. This is the annual store-wide sale that everyone loves because you get December prices in July. Up to 40% off store-wide. Don't miss Christmas in July. Exclusively at Beard's Diamond at the St. John's Town Center and online at beardsdiamonds.com. Shop local. Shop Beards.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Filling in for Hacker After Dark, as well as Rick Ballou for the week. Open Gym, RJ Saunders, Dylan Denmark here with you. Glad you guys are here with us, enjoying your Monday. We have a game in Vegas. Atlanta, Houston, 109-108. Your score with about 6 seconds. I understand that doesn't matter to too many people, but it is basketball. I certainly enjoy the Summer League hoop action. We'll definitely be talking Orlando Magic hoop action throughout the week, as Jace Richardson, Noah Pinda, as well as Tristan Da Silva looking to make some names for themselves with the Summer League squad, hopefully get themselves some much-needed minutes for the Magic as the Eastern Conference is wide open come next season. Could the Orlando Magic be a team that can make it to the NBA Finals and represent the East? We'll be speaking with Dante Marchitelli and Kyle Nash later on in the week to discuss all things Orlando Magic basketball. But getting to Nick Saban, I'm not this wrestling aficionado like Hacker or Beef or Chris Bullock for that matter. However, they do speak to me about wrestling, and I listen to it because it is fascinating. And one guy that I really became interested in a few years ago is that of Goldberg, just because of the reason of how Paul Heyman, who's probably my favorite guy in all of wrestling, just how he was able to describe what the genesis was of Goldberg facing Brock Lesnar. And it was supposed to be the old renegade coming back for one more fight. His son had never seen him fight. And this was a guy that maybe was asking himself, could I still do this? And he wanted to see. And wrestlers, for the most part, I think we understand. Every time they say they're done, I'm retiring, don't want to do this anymore, they always come back. It's the same with football. We saw that with Brett Favre. We're seeing it now with Aaron Rodgers. He says that this year is going to be his last year. He may come back in a couple of years. We never know, right? If you're still a battle rap fan, you hear guys such as Loaded Lux, Averb, Murder Mook, always saying that, I'm done, I'm retiring, I'm only taking one more battle, then they have 2 or 3 more, if you're still a battle rap fan. But Nick Saban is thinking about coming back to coaching. Now, this is according to Greg McElroy. And for me, it doesn't look like it makes that much sense. However, Greg did speak with Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes on the Frangie Show. They're there at SEC Media Days, and he explained as to why this story began and how it's come about.
I'm talking to a couple guys that are pretty in the know. Relied on them in the past with coaching information, just kind of tidbits. Like, hey, keep your ear open for this. Hey, keep your eye on this. Stuff like that. So talking to them kind of leading up to the season, what are you hearing? And they basically are like, hey, don't rule out your boy getting back on the sideline. And I was like, come on, man. Like, stop. Like, you're joking. And I'm like, no, I'm just telling you, just don't rule it out. Like, people are going to reach out to him. Like, get ready. Don't rule it out. And I was like, okay, all right.
You can never say never to a comeback, right? Maybe he needed some time off. Just like we see many athletes and many coaches, they normally like taking time off. But, when that coaching blood infects you, it's hard to step away from the thing you love. right? However, doesn't it feel like the game has kind of passed Nick Saban by? Didn't feel that the NIL and the advent of that was one of the reasons why he decided to walk away? He couldn't wrap his head around the fact that, I'm no longer preparing these kids to make big money at the next level. I'm now trying to compete with other schools just in terms of how much money is a guy getting. And now you have the transfer portal. If they don't like how I'm running things, they can leave. From the star guy to a much needed key role piece. And sure, you can get a few guys just off name recognition alone, but can you keep them for 3-4 years? And you can have all the former talent along your coaching staff. You can have former head coaches here, former players there that are still well in tuned around the league and have the right conversations with the right guy to place you in the conversation to become drafted. But doesn't it seem like Deion Sanders is having this same issue? Wants a salary cap now in college football because of the NIL? Because when he first got into this, he felt that the kids were very impressionable. He doesn't want to coach the NFL because they already have the money. Looks at them as quote-unquote divas. But you could sell yourself to a guy like Travis Hunter who wanted to be just like you. You don't really have to sell yourself to your sons. They know who you are. They probably see it atop of the dinner table each and every night they would eat. And he has 2 very high-level QBs, Deion Sanders does. I wonder at this point, if one is not liking the playing time in which he's getting, do you lose that guy to a bigger school? Heck, do you lose both? But that's a different story. Back to Saban. In my opinion, I don't see him coming back. And according to McElroy, he doesn't either.
No one's more connected than Paul and has a better understanding of what the landscape looks like, especially surrounding Nick Saban. So I asked Paul, I was like, well, Paul, I wouldn't even ask the question if it was like my buddies at the golf group asking, is Coach going to coach again? But it was a couple guys I know and respect. I'm like, have you heard any of this? And he's like, no, absolutely not. I was like, okay, good. I feel better. Like I didn't think so because I thought I was crazy for a second. And sure enough, sounds like me and Paul were singing the same song. Well, it gets picked up, and all they do is put the question out there. Like, well, I was talking to people in the know, and they seem to think don't rule it out. What do you think? All they do is pick that up. I'm like, dude, I never said he was coming back. I don't think he's coming back. I think he'd be crazy to come back.
So a question that I have heard a lot when it comes to that of NBA podcasts, and you have a guest that was a former player of Phil Jackson's, they're always asking whether or not the triangle could be taught in today's game. You hear guys like Kobe Bryant say if you have the right person to teach it. You ask John Sally, he says we're still seeing the triangle to this day. It's going on in Golden State. But the game had kind of passed Phil Jackson by to the point to where he was trying to teach the triangle from a front office position. And eventually he had to find the door because it was just a new day. Doug Peterson, a guy, if it was true that, media members are asking, is this essentially the same offense that you ran when you won the Super Bowl? And the answer was yes. The game had kind of passed you by. You elected not to evolve with the times. Not saying that the offense still couldn't have worked, but maybe you put in different implementations of said offense. Refused to do that. Now, I just don't think that a guy such as Nick Saban will be coming back, but I do ask this question. Would you sell your football soul to have him on your team? If you were a Seminoles fan and you could buy out Mike Norvell, and Rick Ballou thinks that it's only a matter of time before Deion is on the sideline for Florida State, but if Nick Saban could be that guy, would you want Saban? If you're not a FSU, Florida Gator, Miami Hurricane fan, and we have another team in which you like here, would you sell your football soul to bring in Nick Saban? Would you think that the younger generation is now listening to the old guard? Because I feel like he's probably set in his ways. It's either going to be my way or the highway. And I think we've seen enough that a lot of kids, they don't flow like that. They want to do their own thing. I think he's doing a great job on TV. There's one thing about sequels when individuals decide to come back, or sequels when we see TV shows or movies. Look at what Hollywood's doing now. They're trying to come out with just reboots of old TV shows that worked. When you try to make a comeback with it, it normally doesn't work. And I think Nick Saban would be wasting his time. I do believe it's a fun argument to have, to see if Nick Saban would be a guy that you would like to hire if he was to be serious about coming back to the coaching ranks, whether that is in the NFL or whether that's back right in the place where he's been the most successful in college football. LeBron James, his future seems to be up in the air. There seems to be quite a few futures in NBA Summer League that are still being written in ways. What can we make of all of it? We talk next with Steve Ashburner live from Las Vegas, enjoying the Summer League action. He'll discuss all that and more with us right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
A judge swings a gavel and I pound the hammer. I'm not judging, just hammering. Hammer time with Hayes Carlyon, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
On 1010XL, driven by Kia on Atlantic.
Here's Linda Beaver.
The dog days of summer are here, and so are the hottest deals of the year. Whether you're hauling down the street, cruising on the beach, or just escaping the heat, we have the ride you're looking for and the wow you experience you deserve. Save big on select models with sizzling summer savings, low financing, and limited time bonus cash on all trades. So don't sweat it. Come beat the heat at Beaver Automotive, where the summer deals will wow you.
Your doctor says your testosterone is normal. Normal for who? Beta males? That's where those lab ranges come from. Male Excel uses optimal levels, where you were at 25, not where outdated mainstream medicine thinks you should be. Our protocol is different. Daily dosing, multiple hormones, personalized to your body, not some insurance company's spreadsheet. This is precision medicine, not sick care. Try MaleExcel.com, free test. Stop being normal. Start being optimal.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
More Jaguars, more prep sports, more Gators, more Knowles, more dogs, more golf. Plus original podcasts from your favorite 1010XL personalities. 1010XL.com.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hey, it's Joe C. Summer in Jacksonville means the sun is hot, the grills are fired up, and your water heater probably full of sludge.
Nah, not mine.
Think, when was the last time you flushed your water heater out? It's okay, you can say it.
Probably never.
Flushing a water heater each year improves its efficiency and extends its lifespan.
They sure don't make them like they used to.
So call Roland Reese Plumbing for a routine water heater flush out and any other plumbing needs. 260-7059 or at plumberandjacks.com. Roland Reese Plumbing.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Hal Sutton when he famously said, "Be the right club today"? Well, that's what Coil Fencing delivers. The right fence today. And they've been delivering the right fencing for both commercial and residential properties for nearly 100 years. If you're in the market for a new fence, call Coil & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Instant Keys,
You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
This summer, you can beat the heat at Best Bet, your premier poker destination. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a first-time card player, you'll find a cool retreat from the summer heat with thrilling games, big payouts, and refreshing drinks. Join us for an unforgettable experience. Cool off and cash in at Best Bet. The stakes are high, the cards are hot, and your chance for fun is guaranteed. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Jacksonville Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Our next guest photobombed Will Chamberlain, also trained Kevin Garnett as a young Timber Wolf. He is Steve Ashburner of NBA.com, live from NBA Summer League in Vegas, and so gracious enough to give us a few moments of his time. Mr. Ashburner, how has Vegas been so far, and have you stayed out of trouble?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to stay out of trouble when you head into the one of the two gyms when it's technically morning here, and you're leaving exhausted at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Now, 10 o'clock at night, the trouble's just starting for a lot of people in Vegas. But not when you put in that sort of a runway to the energy you have left in the day. Now, this is basketball, sleep, a little bit of eat, a little bit of renew acquaintances. I mean, it is the NBA annual convention.
Yes.
I mean, Las Vegas has morphed from what started out, I think, was maybe a handful of teams 20 plus years ago that were one of several summer leagues.
Right.
And now it's, every team is represented. The league holds meetings here. The Board of Governors meeting is here this week. All the networks that handle NBA, they have representation here. You have to. You got to be here. You can enjoy it, but it runs you around pretty good.
Absolutely, and there's just so many questions I have for you because there are just so many GMs and players that are there, and you also, understand that there's a lot of talks that may be going on before we get into training camp in terms of moves that are made. And right now I'm a disgruntled Lakers fan. I can't make this Lakers talk for the next 20 minutes, but definitely just want to ask you about the summer league portion, because we've seen the California Classic. There was also the summer league action that was going on in Utah, whether it be Cooper Flagg, Walter Clayton Jr., who's had, a strong summer league both in Utah and in Vegas, or even that of Hanson Yang, who I feel like not many people understood, the name and why he was, selected so high, but he's had a strong showing in summer league there in Las Vegas. Have there just been any players to you that have stood out so far this part of the off season in the summer league?
Well, I can't drill down much on this. I mean, I watch these games with sort of a surfacey viewpoint. I did enjoy watching Cooper Flagg against Dylan Harper, the number 1 and number 2 pick on Saturday. That was a matinee game on Saturday. That typically is a matchup that earns the tip-off event on opening night, number 1 versus number 2 draft picks.
Right.
But they altered that this year. They had that 2 days later because they were able to have Cooper Flagg go against Bronny James.
Yes.
And that, of course, was intriguing for Laker fans, so many of whom make the trip over from L.A. to Vegas. No, I can't break down these guys. I mean, I got here on Saturday, so I can't break down anything that I've seen to this point. I mean, I do the rookie ratings that we do each week for NBA.com during the season, but I mean, I really start to dissect them and evaluate them with the start of training camp.
Well, aside from the summer league, I mean, let's get to the big boys in the main roster, and it seems like the one man that always seems to find himself, in the middle of NBA news is that of LeBron James and his future in the NBA, and more specifically with the LA Lakers. It seems to be up in the air at this point, or maybe just that of passive aggressive from LeBron James and his team. But do you think that we see LeBron James in LA for an entire season, or could we be marching in on the final moments of LeBron James in the purple and gold?
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine him moving during the season. That's never happened. I mean, there are a lot of critics of LeBron James. There are a lot of fans of LeBron James. One thing you can say definitively about him is that he changes teams when he has the freedom in between contracts.
Right.
Now, in theory, he could get traded, I suppose. I think there's a no-trade aspect to, him picking up this player option, so everything would have to line up, just perfectly. I just don't know the receiving team that would be willing to aggregate enough salaries to send to the Lakers, or if they were to have enough room, that would be the quality of a team that LeBron would want to play for. I think there is a diva aspect to LeBron at this point, and probably has been for a number of years. All he needed to do was say, I'm picking up the player option of my contract. And there didn't need to be any attendant speculation about, is he happy about this? Is he concerned about the Lakers' desire to compete now? I mean, it's the Los Angeles Lakers, for crying out loud. They never sort of, we're going to throw the marker out 3 seasons, and that's when we intend to be competitive. Yeah, they want to be responsible when it comes to the cap and what they can do and maneuver around after this season.
Right.
But that's still, you can do that within the context of competing. He's going to be playing for a full season with a newly dedicated, in better shape Luka Doncic, at least according to all reports.
Yeah.
I mean, how much help and supporting cast does this guy need, particularly since he seems rather stubborn about passing a baton within his own team?
Right.
He should have become the sidekick to Anthony Davis several years ago, and that never worked out. In part for Anthony, because of Anthony Davis, his personality, his injuries, but there's a fatigue. For me, I can only speak for myself. There's a fatigue that is setting in. And I'm starting to, I don't stay awake at nights, but I'm starting to worry a little bit for James's own sake that he may overstay his welcome, and that the longer he's around, his arc, his reputation is going to start heading down. He compiles the numbers, and that's fine, but the longer he sort of has to play, this prima donna role, I think it turns off as many NBA fans as it excites.
Absolutely. As we continue our conversation with Steve Ashburner of NBA.com. Staying within the Western Conference, there are a lot of teams this offseason that have gotten better out west. However, OKC is the team that is the defending world champions. In the West specifically for you, Steve, who's the closest to dethroning them?
Well, I tend to like Houston. Adding Kevin Durant is a perfect fit for the Rockets. When you look at the maturity, the continued development of the guys they already had on their roster, no problem giving up Jalen Green, who extremely inconsistent right through the playoffs. And I think even Dylan Brooks. I happen to be a fan of Dylan Brooks, but I think with Amin Thompson, you've got a guy who can defend that other team's, most dangerous scorer. So I think Houston, with the maturation that has set in with Ime Udoka, going on, I think this would be his third year there, and they just seem really poised. Alperen Şengün is a sort of a poor man's Nikola Jokic.
Right.
Now, that's a transition to Denver. Denver has beefed up its supporting cast, which everybody wanted to see. And, so you have to take Denver a little more seriously than maybe last year. But I think Houston is, to me, they're the most likely to challenge OKC. I like OKC. I think they're the favorite to repeat. That, of course, would end this 7 champs in 7 years parity that the league has going on. Of course, a year ago at this time, I thought Boston was going to end it at 6-6 because I thought the Celtics would repeat.
Right.
And look at how differently the Celtics look right now.
Now, shifting our attention to the East, bringing up the Boston Celtics, you have injuries to Tatum, and also you can look at the Indiana Pacers with the injury to Halliburton. And this Eastern Conference, it seems to be wide open with many teams licking their chops. So, you have that of the Orlando Magic. You're also going to be looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're not going anywhere. But in your opinion, with we here in Jacksonville being huge fans of the Orlando Magic and what they've done this offseason, just wanted to know from you, do you think the Orlando Magic could be in the mix for potentially representing the East in next year's NBA Finals?
Yeah, very much so. Every year that you get older and they continue to look like they get better. Big fan of Paolo Banchero. He is locked in now, and I think he's a load offensively for any NBA defense. Franz Wagner, to me, is on a trajectory. Well, he'll be an all-star this year as well. I like the additions of Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones. Yeah, I think Orlando, there's no reason that they can't, sort of make a step up. I thought, even a year or two ago, I thought they were maybe a year or two behind OKC's timeline. And it just seems like, now it's time to make their move. I mean, they're going to have some resistance. I think Cleveland Cavaliers are, to me, the favorite in the East until proven otherwise.
Right.
But Cleveland's not been able to, have it pay off in May. And so until we see that, I consider it a pretty open conference. And, there's probably 5 or 6 teams that could claim those top 4 spots.
Now, is there a team, before we let you go, Steve, and again, thanks for giving us a couple moments of your time, is there a team that we're kind of sleeping on here? I understand that, in circles that, I talk with my friends, and I'm sure, you following the NBA closely and me being the senior writer for NBA.com, you talk about teams such as the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. You're also talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers and others. But is there a team that maybe we're not paying as close attention to that you think could have a strong year going into next year?
Well, I mean, I would guess I would look at the middle tier teams. It's hard to predict a leap, from the bottom. I don't think any of us would have guessed that the Detroit Pistons would triple their victory total from 2 years ago to this past season. They're not going to do that again, but I do think that they are going to be a contender for a top 4 spot in the East. I just think that group has been nurtured along. They're going to get Jaden Ivey back this year. I think Detroit's they continue to improve, and it just seems like based on what we saw from them last year, they got valuable experience by reaching the postseason, and I would expect that to continue. I also think in the West, there's one team that's been to the conference finals the last 2 years, the Minnesota Timberwolves,
right?
And people tend to forget about them, maybe because they're where they're located. The fact that they got as much attention for trading away a star a year ago in Karl Anthony Towns as for anything they did, in terms of, they brought back Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, valuable pieces, helpful players. And I think now with them being around for a year, with Anthony Edwards getting a little bit a year older and maybe a better awareness of what it takes to be, the guy for a franchise.
Right.
I think Minnesota is poised. Their window is not the most gaping and longest likely to stay open, and I think Minnesota knows after a couple of years in the conference finals, they're either going to need to break through and reach the finals, or they're going to have to start replacing parts and recasting their ambitions.
I'm sorry for lying, saying that was going to be the last question. You brought up the New York Knicks. I needed to ask you this question. Are they a better team with Mike Brown at the helm?
Let me put a qualifier on this. I go back all the way to Tom Thibodeau's first job in the NBA when he was an assistant coach with the Minnesota Timberwolves in 1989.
Wow.
I think Tom Thibodeau is a tremendous coach.
Right.
He is, he doesn't let a lot of people in to see, his personality.
Right.
I think he wears a lot more easily on his team than fans from the outside might think. And no, I don't think that was a move that made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind making them better now. Mike Brown's a fine coach. I don't think that they will be worse off necessarily because Mike Brown is coaching them, but I don't expect them to get any bump really whatsoever from that coaching change. I think that was an irrational ownership, upper management move. Come on, they had given Thibodeau a $30 million extension that has yet to kick in,
right?
And they're still going to pay him. So, that it just didn't make sense. I think that team is what it is. They had a better than expected offense last year. I know people, wrung their hands and fretted about too many minutes for the frontline players, but they were as healthy as anybody in the postseason. So, no, I thought it was an irrational move. I think New York can be a good team again, probably a third or fourth seed, maybe a second seed. Who knows? As we said, it's East, but Mike Brown is the piece that's going to get them over the top. There's no way.
There is a lot of more photo bombing to be had. There's also a lot of more training that this guy has to have with a couple of the young guys coming into the NBA. He photo bombed Wilt Chamberlain. He has trained Kevin Garnett from his days as a Timberwolf, and he is training us in the art of NBA Insight. He is Steve Ashburner. Make sure to follow him and his great writing on NBA.com. Steve, thanks again. Stay out of trouble there in Vegas, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
You're welcome, RJ.
There he goes, Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. Was really funny, the move in which the New York Knicks elected to make with showing Tom Thibodeau the door and bringing in Mike Brown. If you were going to bring in a head coach, I thought that you would have brought in a guy that you can say this is going to be the individual that's going to change the entire offense or just change the entire trajectory of this team in general. We saw it in Detroit. Remember in 2003, I believe it was Rick Carlisle was the head coach. Fire him. You bring in Larry Brown because you thought that Carlisle had done everything in which he could do in order to make that team a competitive team. And you bring in Larry Brown, and they stole a championship from the Los Angeles Lakers. With New York, I'm trying my best to pull here. I'm trying. The move just didn't make sense to me. But that's why we play the games, right? To win a ring. Speaking of rings, ring culture. Does it matter? Let's discuss next right here on Open Gym.
It's a test of skill, courage, and nerves of steel. Take your shot at the Open Championship with 1010XL's You Pick'em contest. Teed up by Hello Windows and Doors. You could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Vegas, 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 baby.
Vegas, baby. Helmets and Heels is back at Circa Resort and Casino with 2 epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Here's the scoop. In Circa Million, pick 5 games against the spread each week for quarterly prizes and a $1 million grand prize for the season winner. Then there's the legendary Circa Survivor. 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins a guaranteed $15 million. Must enter in Nevada, then play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for all the details.
Plus, sign up for either contest and score 50% off a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino. You can even join the ultimate football kickoff with Helmets and Heels in Vegas, August 21st and 22nd while you enter. Book your stay at Circa now and chase $21 million in guaranteed prizes. No rake. For full contest details, check out 1010xl.com/Vegas. Vegas, baby. SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At sportsforecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. Sportsforecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, a Jacksonville family business for nearly 70 years. Heck, I've been talking about them for over a decade. The Thompson family secret, Dandy's never frozen, always fresh baked bread with quality meats and cheeses, no dry crumbly subs here, only soft and tasty deliciousness. When I see that logo with the little dude with the cane on the label, it tells me I'm getting a trusted brand, a quality sandwich. So do what I do and stop in at a Daly's and make yours a Dandy today.
If life blindsided you tomorrow, would your family struggle? I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial, and I can help. One call could protect your family for life. 904-885-9566. Harborstone Financial.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Open gym on a Monday, filling in for Hacker After Dark and Rick Ballou. They will be back next week. Training camp upon us. An exciting time here in Jacksonville as the Jaguars look to right the ship from what happened last season. Absolutely abysmal. Putting that in the back of our minds, new regime, a quarterback who believes it's go time now. New opportunity, new day. Certainly exciting, and I just feel like we just blinked and training camp's already here again. I feel like the season just ended, yesterday? Maybe I'm just thinking about the NBA too much. 641-1010 on the text line or on our various digital platforms if you want to get in on the conversation. Anything we have talked about up until this point, and really just want to get into what LeBron James said about rings and ring culture. There's a lot of news surrounding him in terms of his future. How many more years does he have left in the NBA? I mean, what's his future like with the Los Angeles Lakers? We heard Steve Ashburn of NBA.com give us his opinion as to what his future could possibly be. But he did have this interesting conversation with Steve Nash about ring culture that I wanted for you guys to hear. And this is the future NBA Hall of Famer on ring culture. And is it more prevalent in the NBA than it is other sports? Here's LeBron.
Oh, my goodness. I do not know the answer. I wish I had the answer to this, but I'm not sure, man. It's funny. I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the all be all of everything. Like, okay, you weren't a great player if you never won a championship. Yeah. It's like, or if you won one, then you can't be in the same conversation with this person. It's like,
but that's a great point, because what you're saying is like, no matter what you have, you need more. No matter what.
Right.
No matter what. Like, it never ends.
Yeah. Right? It's, I don't know, man. It's just like you sit here and you tell me, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, our fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won one ring or won two rings or one, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. They don't never discuss that in their sport.
Right.
Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time, or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things.
There's just a lot to break down there. I'd love to have a longer conversation about it, but us as sports fans, this is our fault. We held these guys to a very high standard, whether that's fair or unfair. And I'm just talking about great players, Hall of Fame players, players that we discuss as to whether or not they should be listed in the GOAT conversation. We sit on bar stools, we sit in barber chairs, church pews, what have you. And when it comes down to the GOAT conversation, I think the first thing we look at is how many rings did you win? And I also think we view how the rings were won and how those rings were accumulated is a big talking point. And I think that's taken a life of its own now. But is ring culture, to his question, is ring culture more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports? Yes, just due to the platform in which they have. And that is much in large part, in my opinion, because of the man who's talking about it in LeBron James. And what he did in his career. He made the game a mobile game. Jordan made it global. LeBron made it mobile, where star guys can now move and play with one another if they so choose and win rings. Kevin Durant believed that if he were to win a ring or multiple rings against LeBron James, that would put him above LeBron as the best player in the game. LeBron James, the argument was that if he did not win a ring, not even if he won 6, just 1 in his first stint in Cleveland, could we put him in the top 5, top 10, top 3 category of all time if he hasn't won a ring, accolades aside? Could we do that? But again, it's us NBA fans. I don't know how many players there are in the top 10, top 15 if you're having a conversation with a diehard basketball fan and those guys didn't win either a ring or multiple rings. MLB, no, I just don't. I don't know if you're seeing that. Because in my opinion, unless you're LA or New York, not too many teams are trying to spend that much money to accumulate talent. Or you don't see too many guys saying we're going to try to team up and let's go to Tampa Bay and play with the Rays. We'll win multiple championships there. The NFL, I don't see that either, because I don't think you just pairing 4 or 5 above average players together ultimately means you're going to win a Super Bowl. We've seen teams be in games with the Kansas City Chiefs, even when we hear that they have the best player in the game, best tight end in the game, to some. There's more of a team aspect to that. And there is in the NBA as well, which LeBron talks about, but the talent that you need in the NBA to win a championship, I think holds more weight to whether or not you can win a championship. Now, it used to be, in my opinion, you needed just to pair with another all-star and then have great role players. LeBron James changed the game when he decides that he wants to go to Miami, have Dwayne Wade, who at that time was probably a top 3, top 2 shooting guard in the league. Chris Bosh was a 20-10 guy in Toronto. How are we supposed to compete against that? That was just unheard of. That just makes no sense. And for the teams that are win now, we hear it all the time in the NBA. The league is better when the Lakers are better, when the Knicks are competitive, when the Celtics are competitive, when the Sixers are a good team. That just helps the NBA and helps the NBA brand. So they have to try to accumulate this talent. They don't believe in rebuilds. They don't believe in player development like the OKC Thunder did. But that's why TNT is able to have that running gag that they had with Charles Barkley. I think the year was 2006. And they had that little room, the Champions Club. Barkley's a great player. He can be in the great players room. Champions Club? Sir, you're not on the list. this is why I couldn't understand a Tracy McGrady in a way. This is where the conversation gets deeper. That's why I'm saying that there's just a whole lot that I would like to break down with this. What I couldn't get with Tracy McGrady is when he says, well, put me with Shaq. I would have won 3 rings. There were a lot of players at that time that said the same thing. But would that have put a guy like Tracy McGrady above Tim Duncan all time? Would that put him above LeBron James all time? Would that have put him above Larry? Would that have put him above Magic? Probably not. I think Kobe, his whole point was, if I continue winning with Shaq, the argument that's going to be made is, well, he played with the most dominant force in the game. So now he has to decide that he has to do his own thing, win these rings, and say, you can kind of get a taste of what I could have potentially done had I had my own squad and not had Shaq. How many other guys in the association would have been able to do that? LeBron James, as much flack as I give him, as I said, Cleveland didn't give him the horses to win a ring. But the way in which he won it, I think there's something that we couldn't look past. Something that we don't see guys in the MLB doing. Something that we don't see guys in the NFL doing. The NBA, they do that now. We saw Kevin Durant do it in Golden State. Paul George decides that he wants to go to the Philadelphia 76ers because they have Tyrese Maxey, an all-star, Joel Embiid, an all-star. Now you add me, an all-star, 3 all-stars now on one team, and it's not like we haven't seen teams with multiple all-stars, but it's not one guy coming from one place and another guy coming from another place and guy X and guy Y, and you understand what I'm saying. It was rather distasteful how LeBron and KD went about it. That's what makes it so prevalent, because in other sports and in other leagues, we don't see that. In the NBA, we see it. Spearheaded by the self-proclaimed Kang, LeBron James. So does ring culture matter? I think LeBron gave that answer himself by doing what he did. Bill Russell, he gave that answer. He won 11 in 13 years. You guys watch Magic win 5. Larry win 3. Jordan go undefeated. It's a prevalent thing in the NBA because we held them to that standard. We don't say that guys aren't great players. We don't say that Barkley's not a great player because he didn't win. We just can't put him in the conversation of greatest of all time because he didn't win at the highest level. Same with Ewing, same with Stockton, same with Malone. But it's a much bigger conversation I would love to have, and I would love to get your thoughts on it. 641-1010 on our text line. And when we come back, I mean, who's been standing out in terms of the players who haven't won rings? Because I want to stay on the ring conversation. To those guys who haven't won rings, the dedication in which they gave to their city and staying through the good times and the bad times. Although they didn't win a ring, don't we still hold them close to our hearts? And is there a quarterback that's here that if he weren't to win a Super Bowl, would we hold him close to our hearts because he was one of our own? Let's discuss that next as we close out here on night 1 of Open Gym.
Kick off another college football season with players, coaches, and insiders of the best conference. The Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing SEC Media Days. Opened by Window World of Northeast Florida, Underwood Jewelers, and Florida Pest Control.
Big number one Duval Ford is trusted by Duval families, Duval businesses, and law enforcement across Florida. We're Jacksonville's largest Ford dealer by new Ford sales with the biggest service facility to keep everything in your driveway and in your fleet on the road. Shop Big number one Duval Ford on Cassett Avenue for our low prices and nationally recognized service first experience. Big number one Duval Ford, proudly serving North Florida since 1916.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is poured at Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Enjoy craft for $12.99 a pound on Tuesdays. Drink Brackish Wednesdays with $1 oyster on the half shell. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka made right here in Jacksonville for whatever your sport is. If your sport is crab at Southern Coast, your vodka is Brackish. Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Tom McManus buckles his chin strap as he joins Lauren Brooks and Taylor Dahl for the new Helmets and Heels.
I just love man in uniform.
Catch the pros' point of view afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today, 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry.
I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Hal Sutton when he famously said, "Be the right club today"? Well, that's what Coil Fencing delivers, the right fence today. And they've been delivering the right fencing for both commercial and residential properties for nearly 100 years. If you're in the market for a new fence, call Coil & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jacks cool since '87.
Why will the Jacksonville Jaguars be better? Well, if you ask one John Shipley, it's because of Liam Cohen and the offense that he has and that he's implementing is going to be more forward thinking. Me, I think it's because the players buy in. Not only because of what Liam Cohen has to tell them, but also because they're looking internally and within themselves. We heard Trevor Lawrence, if you listen to the Pardon My Take podcast, he talks about it's, year 5, kind of got to tighten up here. Got to show that we're a team that's a force to be reckoned with and are going to have something to say 4 years to come. Josh Hines-Allen talking about how he feels a lot better after dropping the weight that he was asked to put on last season. Could we see him play at the level we saw him play in his contract year? Is Travis Hunter going to be everything we think he's going to be in year 1? I think all that stuff is possible, but it's certainly going to start with the fact that everyone buys in and understands their role and they decide to be a star in it. Now, one of those guys, I think we always talk about ad nauseum, just due to the fact that he's the quarterback of this team and, well, he's got $275 million now to his name. And that's one Trevor Lawrence. And when I think of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm always going to think Tony Baselli's name first. When I think of teams such as the Orlando Magic, I think Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson. I would also like to know from Orlando Magic fans, have you guys forgiven Shaq for leaving? It seemed that there were many that still to this day just can't stand the fact that Shaquille O'Neal left in 1996. But if I bring it back to Jacksonville, and the hope is that there's going to be a Super Bowl brought here. And I think one Super Bowl here would be 10 for another team. I just want to ask this question. I'm not putting bad juju out there, but if Trevor Lawrence were never to bring a championship here, when I talk about the Orlando Magic and they have Penny Hardaway and they have Tracy McGrady and they have Nick Anderson, or you think about other teams who their squad has yet to win a championship and we still see those cities and those organizations place their arms around those guys, would Trevor Lawrence be that guy to you? Would Trevor Lawrence be that guy for you? Would you still love and embrace him and cling to him and say, even though he didn't bring a ring, he did bring great memories, great playoff runs, had some amazing stats, had a solid career. And I do want to know if that is the case, where would he be? Would he be on your top 10? Would he be on your top 5? You hear it here on 1010XL. We're able to see it being inside the building. We see guys such as Leon Searcy, Tom McManus. The Mangler will come every so often. You hear guys on the phone such as the Mangler, Tony Baselli, Fred Taylor, Rashean Mathis, Donovan Darius. Could Trevor Lawrence be in that class once his career is said and done? Now, again, I'm not saying that the city of Jacksonville isn't going to win a ring with Trevor Lawrence at the helm, but I probably will say if he doesn't bring a championship ring here and a Super Bowl here to the 904, maybe you look at him as a guy that was a missed opportunity just because he was so hyped coming out of Clemson. And whether by hook, by crook, the NFL board of directors, Roger Goodell's whim, I don't know. He just, for whatever reason, if he's not to win a ring, we can put a myriad of reasons as to why that didn't happen. But again, I think of the Chargers in the NFL. I think a guy like LaDainian Tomlinson is a guy that the Chargers, at least in San Diego, because now they're in LA, but they still wrap their arms around him. Same with Phillip Rivers. The Arizona Cardinals, yet to win a Super Bowl. But I think Larry Fitzgerald's name is to be said with reverence if you're there in Arizona. Look at the Grizzlies in the NBA. Zach Randolph and Tony Allen. The city has adopted the grit and grind moniker because of those two guys and retired their jersey numbers because of it. I don't think you can say a bad thing about Steve Nash in Phoenix because of everything in which he did. Would Trevor Lawrence be that guy for us? I think so. But I don't count on it because I think he's going to be able to do something that, unfortunately, and those other teams for the Jacksonville Jaguars were very close, especially in those Baselli years. But Trevor Lawrence is going to bring a Super Bowl here to Jacksonville and for the Jaguars. Because I hope so. Just due to the fact that he was the guy that was, again, the promised son of the NFL. And he still needs time. That's really hard for me to say, though, because we've had guys like Herm Edwards on this station. We've also had Mark Ross on. And those are two guys that are saying he has to show something and he has to show something quick because the questions are starting to arise. Is it the coaching staff or is it you? And there can be arguments made on both sides. That's what makes this year so critical, fairly or unfairly for Trevor. But if there are those of you that already put your arms around him now, understanding everything that we were told before he got drafted number 1 overall, would the same love still be ushered to him at the end of his career if he went from not being that generational talent, but he had a very solid career? I've said it many times. I've tried to make it akin to that of Vince Carter. Had a whole city on his back in Toronto. This was the guy that they said, you know what? I know we dubbed Kobe the next Jordan, but this guy may be. I think the comparisons died down around 03, 04 for Vince, but Hall of Fame career. Trevor Lawrence, he can still do it. There's still a lot of time. Still a lot of time. But that's just one question I wanted to throw out there for you, the listener, here on the first day of Open Gym, as we'll be filling in for Rick Ballou and Ryan the Hacker Green all week this week. Definitely going to be exciting. We'll have a lot of guests on for you. Tomorrow we will have Jamal St. Cyr. Also going to have Trevor Lane talking Jaguars and NBA respectively. Also have Dante Marchitelli on Wednesday, Kyle Nash on Friday, talk everything Orlando Magic before It's going to be the dead period in the NBA. That makes me sad. That makes me sad. But what does make me excited is that this Jacksonville Jaguar team does have now an opportunity to get whatever aggravation they have, whatever frustration over the last few years, they're able to get that out. It's a new chapter. It's a new day. It's a new book. New opportunity. And we heard Jamal St. Cyr a couple of weeks ago talk about, listen, this offense is going to be a lot better once we see nuts and bolts tighten up under the tutelage of Liam Cohen. Should be exciting to see, and we will certainly have Jaguar experts breaking it down for us all week this week as we fill in for Rick and Hacker. So for Dylan Denmark, I am RJ Saunders. This has been Open Gym. We will talk to you tomorrow at 6.